We're going to look at an approach Hendrix did so well that he's inspired countless guitarists since. And let's use John Mayer just as an example, but then I'll show you how you can use this approach as part of your own playing. So looking at the tune Slow Dancing in a Burning Room, we've got just 3 chords for the main part: C sharp minor, A, and E. And so something that we're going to be looking at here is the cage system, which is just an acronym for open chords and playing them in a closed position. But we're really going to focus on how we use pentatonics around it and how they match up together and how you can kind of use this to kind of mess around with your own sound, you know? So looking at that acronym, you've got C, A, G, E, and D, right? So if you look at this first shape right here, this is in an E minor shape. So if we take E, make it E minor, right? But then you change it like this. So you're pretending to bar down. You can move it up here, 1 fret. There you go, there's your F minor. Move it way up here, 9th fret. Here's your C sharp. So there's your C sharp minor. Then here's A in the E major shape. And then E, but in the C shape, which is a really tricky one. But I love this one. Once you get it on your fingers, there's a lot you can do, especially all this Hendrixy kind of style stuff. So those are our shapes for the chords. And now looking at the scales, we've got, for pentatonics, we've got the, you could say C sharp minor, or you could also be thinking of it as E major, depending on how you want to look at it, because they're relative scales, the relative keys. And if you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. But you can go throughout this thinking if minor, if it's more comfortable for you, or you can think of major, which is the actual kind of key, you know, we're dealing with, because it ends and resolves on E. So it's, you may think it's C sharp minor because it starts that, but it actually is E. But either way, it doesn't matter how you think of it. You got that scale right there, and then with this one here, you've got this A major pentatonic that goes along with it, right? And then for this one here, you've got this shape, right? And now these 2 chords move twice as fast, so it's a little tricky to kind of throw those on there. You don't have to, and you don't want to make it sound like it's forced. So you can do, you know, the kind of corresponding shape for each of them, or you can just use the E major for all of it. So that would be this one right here. You could just use for that. And as we look at a little later, you can just play in one position too. You don't have to be moving these shapes like John Mayer did. And another thing that he did is he would play with his thumb, just like Hendrix did a lot. I don't do that, you know, he does it right here. So that he has more freedom, you know, to do this little embellishments while getting that root note. But if you're playing with a band, the bass player is going to be revolving around that root note as the chord as it happens, or with a backing track, something like that. So you don't really need it. You can kind of fake it, you know, or just bar down and then do the embellishment stuff, you know, in between, things like that. Another thing that they did a lot of is playing double stops, which is playing 2 notes at a time. So you don't get that Hendrixy sound that John Mayer is also copying, kind of, you know, is playing 2 notes at a time. But here, we don't have to do exactly what either of them are doing, just to show you some of the idea of the sounds without actually showing you, you know, breaking down any specific parts for you know, this tune anyways that we're looking at. So some ways to make it your own. You can start off by just trying out some different spots. So you can take this shape right here and play it over here in the A minor shape. There and here's their C sharp, right? And then you have that same, like I said, C sharp minor, E minor, the pentatonics, the same thing. And then you've got this right here. Same as this, right? And just get used to it over there. You could do it all right here in this spot, or you could do it up here. And you could just, you know, try messing around with it, making your own. So say I play with the track. So I start off with just chords, right? C shape, G shape actually, then scales. And then a little bit of both. But the idea is just to, you know, try improvising around with the chord changes, both the chords and using the scale shapes going back and forth and mixing it together. And so you might be asking, how do I learn all these chord shapes and scales? Well, to make things easier, I've put together a free Cage System cheat sheet for you. You can find the link in the description down below, or if you're watching on a TV, you can use your phone camera to scan this QR code right here. Now, we've explored how using the Cage System like John Mayer or Hendrix can really open up the fretboard and help us make connections between chords and scales. But there's so much more we can all learn from John Mayer, so check out this video here where I show you what any guitarist can learn from John Mayer.